Hello, everyone. Today, we are joined by Cade on the podcast. Cade is a YouTuber and a creator who makes educational videos and in-depth analysis content about NFT projects. He also shares his strategies for personal brand building, and Cade has been in the NFT space for a lot longer than we've been, so we are excited to get into it with him today. Welcome to the podcast, Cade.
Oh yeah, thanks for the intro. I appreciate it. I'm excited. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm excited to be potting with you. You were the first podcast I was ever on, so it's like a nice, well-rounded moment where you're our first guest. Before we get into the podcast, I want to thank our sponsor, SolSea. SolSea is an open NFT marketplace on the Solana blockchain. They make it super simple for artists starting out to sell their art as NFTs. I have been using them for about 6 months. They were the first marketplace that I used, and I've had just a great experience selling my art with them thus far. So I highly recommend checking them out if you are looking to enter the Web3 space and sell your art. And I have a playlist showing you exactly how to do it, taking you through the whole process of how to actually start connecting in the NFT space, all the way to actually minting NFTs and selling your art. And I will link that playlist down below. And let's get into the podcast. We want to talk about a couple things. So Cade makes a lot of content about NFT projects, and he's kind of in the side of NFTs that I'm not so much a part of, the big PFP collections, and just like the big massive projects and blue chip projects and stuff like that. So we want to talk about NFTs, and then Cade has 2 sold out NFT collections of his own from his photography art. So we're going to get into that and then talk about the life of a YouTuber, just what it takes to be a full-time content creator. And Cade's been doing the YouTube game for a long time. So yeah, I'm excited for the episode. So to start out, I kind of want to just talk to the people at home who are still pretty foreign to the concept of NFTs. How do you explain what you do, like what NFT projects are and why they're valuable?
Man, I really don't. But if I had to come up with something, because I don't talk to anyone about NFTs. If people ask me what NFTs are or what I do, I don't even tell them. I just say I make YouTube videos about tech. It's just too much. It's too complicated of a thing usually, and they always have like a stigma against NFTs. So in my experience, I haven't done so much of it. So it's mainly through my YouTube or teaching people who are already interested. But the way I probably go about NFTs is more about the technology under it. I think that's the best way to get people to kind of not be turned off immediately, because they just think of pictures of animals and people losing money in scams, and it's like the early years of Bitcoin, the exact same story there, which I understand, because I remember like my sophomore year of college, I listened to some kid do a speech on Bitcoin, and at the end I was ready to like drop the class. It was that weird. He was just a sketchy dude.
You had a guy giving you a speech about Bitcoin in high school?
Dude, I know. In 2017, but of course he was the sketchiest motherfucker alive. I think this blockchain technology under it, the NFTs, it's the branch between Web 2 and Web 3, and I hate using those buzzwords, but it's the only way to describe it is Web 2 is building on already made applications and like building your social media through Instagram and stuff like that, and you don't own any of your rights to anything. And with the Web 3, the technology under it, people can create these asset classes and create these brands on the blockchain where it's stored. You can't hide stuff really. I mean, you can, but people are going to find you eventually. And it's a new little world where people have a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more power in what they do, and I think that's powerful for a lot of people. And it's also culty as fuck, it's culty, and people in the beginning of a cult, it feels very like, I don't know, people get excited about it, but if you're not in the cult, it's really hard to understand that. And if you're trying to explain, buying a $50 game gun in Call of Duty to your grandpa, he's literally just not going to get it. It's just nothing you could say to him that he would understand. And so it's kind of similar to that. So it's hard. They have to have a little bit of a curiosity factor about them. Otherwise, it's really hard to explain it to them unless they're already kind of curious about it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I struggle so hard explaining it, like what we're trying to do to people. That's funny that you don't just even engage in that, because one of my questions for you was like, how do you talk to these people about it? Because like they're so curious, and I like talking about what I'm doing. But then I just hit a wall every time where I'm like, well, it's complicated. It's not just, it's just, they don't get it. It's so hard to even wrap our heads around for our age, let alone the older generation. It's crazy.
Yeah, unless I've got an hour with them and I know we're about to talk, then maybe we'll open up about it. But if it's not that, I don't know. The past few years, I've gotten more and more comfortable not telling people shit about anything. Mm-hmm. I just like, Like you guys probably get it, just doing your own thing. You got your own idea of what you want to accomplish, and most people aren't willing to do that for themselves. So you're not going to be able to convey that idea and thought process because it's too scary for them. So they're just going to be like, oh yeah, it's not the response you ever want, like especially if there's someone you want their approval from a little bit. You can never get that approval. It's never exactly how you want it. So I was like, I'm just going to stop talking. I'm just going to let my work show through, and eventually I'll just be full time and I can just be okay not having anyone's approval.
Yeah, I get that. I think it can be so discouraging when we share our goals and dreams sometimes with people who don't understand it, people who come from different industries and just will never understand it. And you're right, it is discouraging when you can even have so much confidence in yourself and what you're doing, and when you share it to people and they just don't get it and instantly kind of put you down, it keeps you from wanting to talk about it, which is a bummer.
It is a bummer. Have you heard the quote from Jordan Peterson, "Don't cast pearls before swine"? It's pretty much.
But I've heard a lot of Jordan Peterson quotes. What is that one?
It's pretty much just exactly what this is. So it's like, it just means when someone's not willing to listen or can't listen or has no idea what you're talking about, like it's like you can't give them your good information. Like it's not worth spreading your dreams or anything to someone who doesn't get it because it just brings you down. Like you're not supposed to cast all these great information, all these new ideas in front of a swine who someone's just not about it at all. It actually takes from your dreams and helps you not accomplish them more than anything.
That's super insightful. That's definitely why I like making YouTube videos, because I don't have to worry about anyone else. I can just put the content out there, and if you want to watch it, then you're gonna click on my video. If not, hopefully you just stay off the video. But some people, like I made a video literally about a hater, which is fine because now it's content for me. I can make a video about comments, but they were like, I don't even know what it was about. Basically, you just missed the whole point of the video, and I was just like, I am so powerless in this situation. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, one, you're not going to read my response, so there's no point in me responding, so I might as well make a video about it. But I was like, I can only put out this content. If you're not willing to be, like, trying to learn from it, then I can't help you. Like, I've always watched content from the idea that I want to be a YouTuber one day. There's something this person has that I don't have that I want, and I'm here to learn it. I want it. I don't care who they are, what they've done. I just want to know and soak it all up. And so I've always approached everything I've watched. It's weird. Like literally since I was like 9 years old watching soccer videos, I wanted to be a professional soccer player. So I watched every single soccer channel with the intent to learn. Not even for a second did I think I'm going to hate on this person for making content for me to learn. So I've just never been able to like think like that, I guess. So it's hard for me to relate to those people.
I totally agree. I'm the exact same way. I mean, right when I realized I actually enjoy something or want to get a little more invested in it, I mean, it's just straight to YouTube, binge watching, and then I don't think I've ever disliked a video in my life. Like, what? I don't even understand the point of that is. Like who are you? I don't even understand. Like,
I don't know either.
I don't get it. No one we hang out is the type of person dislike a video.
Yeah. No,
don't get it.
Yeah. So you've been making YouTube videos for a long time. What was the switch that made you want to not only like just buy NFTs personally, get into it, but actually make content about it? Like kind of switch your focus to that. How did that switch happen?
So I've been in the finance world for a long while before that, and I've been working at the restaurant like you guys had been doing, and I was just like, man, how am I supposed to, like, I have a good bit of money, but I don't understand how to like work this. How am I supposed to leverage this money so I don't have to do this the rest of my life? Because I'm making a lot of money. I feel like I could swing this in a way where I don't have to work till I'm 50 to retire, 60 to retire. So I got super into personal finance. I started watching Graham Stephan, Andre Jake. I don't even know who else. Just like, literally every single person who's ever made a piece of finance content. And I just learned everything and tried out all the risky stuff first. And then after a while, I realized they were right. And I shouldn't have been doing that because it doesn't work as well. And it's hard and it's risky for that exact reason. And so I started to become a little bit more conservative and learning like real strategies and learning about thesis-based investing. And I got into crypto for a while before NFTs. And then the market crashed. And right when I left for my trip, I quit all my jobs and I started to go travel and figure this whole thing out, similar to you guys when you guys took that gap year. And gap year that turned into forever year. But I did the traveling. And as soon as the market crashed, I was like, fuck me. Like, there's nothing to talk about. It's just dead. Like, the market's just dead as fuck. I don't know what to do here. So I was watching Journey Crypto and Alex Becker, and they kept talking about this Bored Ape thing. And I was just like, that's just so, what even is that? So I just didn't even think about it. And like two or three, probably, I don't know, maybe a month later, I think, after that whole thing happened, I finally just bit the bullet, downloaded OpenSea, just to see what it was about, just to test it out. I had no intention, no idea what I was about to get into. And I was on the highway, I think, and I was driving into a national park. And instead, I pulled over on the side of the road, and because there was a little bit of service, and I pulled up OpenSea. I looked at an NFT that my friend had like shielded me on Twitter or something, and I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. So I bought it on the side of the highway at like 2 p.m. Next thing I know, it's 10 p.m. I'm still on the side of the highway. I'm in the back of my car now, and I'm just scrolling through fucking OpenSea looking at stuff, and now I'm like on Twitters and like random Discords, and I don't even know what happened after that. I just know that I did not stop, and it turned into a 15-hour-a-day extravaganza mixed with driving, door dashing, and then just NFTs. And then content just came out of that because I was making YouTube videos already, and so I just pivoted.
So what was that switch though? You bought that first NFT. Did you flip it and make money? And you were kind of like, oh, this could be a cool like way to gain financial freedom, or just to gain another, stream of income. Like, what made you so excited? Like, what made you want to just keep diving in? Like, did you see something or hear something or have like a vision for what they could be?
I think I fell for that dream they sell you on, that every industry sells you on when you get in there in the beginning. Something like fitness, you get there and you see all these Gymshark athletes, and you're like, oh, I could be that if I just work out a little bit, drink some protein powder. I can look like this guy on Gymshark's team, and I can get these sponsorships. So I bought the NFT. I did not make those first 3 NFTs just by chance ended up becoming massive projects way later down the line. So I'm glad I held them, but I bought them, never really had any intent to sell any NFTs. I just bought them, and I had about $10,000 sitting in a Coinbase account. So I pulled all of it out, sold all for losses because I was like, whatever, taxes. So I sold them all for losses, pulled the 10K out and said, okay, this is my Chuck E. Cheese money. I'm going to learn this shit. I'm just going to learn and just go everywhere and figure everything out on the way. I'm going to make money and then throw it right back in NFTs and just do this. And I got obsessed, just like everyone else does in NFTs, just got purely painfully obsessed with it and just didn't turn back. And yeah, I mean, way later down the line, like a couple months ago, I ended up selling 2 of the 3 that I bought. And I think I bought all of them for a combined maybe 0.4 Ethereum total for everything that I bought. And then I sold one of them for 2 ETH the other day, which is wild. And then I sold one for like 0.3. So I made my money back and then some. And I'm still holding one. But that was just pure, like most people fail for the first few months. And I did. That was a pure luck one. Everything else after that for the next 3 months was pretty much else. But I just got obsessed, I guess. I just got obsessed.
Because for me, it's now that NFTs are kind of, there's a lot of like real world examples for them. There's a lot of types of NFTs that just make a lot more sense to, I feel like, me and just like the average people. Like, for example, Gary Vee's project, that makes total sense. You like him as a person, you get access to him and his convention, and there's all these real world utilities. Same thing with artists. I feel like that makes sense. You find a cool artist, you want to support them, you want to buy the dope art, support the person. That makes sense. But in what I feel like doesn't make sense to me, which is kind of what it started with, was just the PFP collections where there wasn't really utility. You know what I mean? I feel like that's harder to explain and to justify and to buy. So it's interesting to me how a lot of people got involved at that stage, when I feel like it's just so much more risky. So it's confusing, where now I feel like there's all these projects with a lot more utility that it just makes a lot more sense of, trusting, oh, I'm buying this for this purpose. Where at the beginning, it was kind of just these PFP projects. Like, what was the goal? It's just to make money, right? It's just to flip. And that was kind of the original part of it.
It's a little casino.
Yeah.
That's people are getting because it's a casino. That's the only reason people are in it. There's no utility yet. It's still exactly what you just said in the summer. There's no difference. The only difference is we have a little bit of history to look back on. But there's like 1% of projects are delivering on anything they said they would. It's a casino. People are in there pulling slots, hoping to pick the best one. And everyone who's a Bored Ape holder struck gold, pure luck, pretty much for the most part. And so they've used that to leverage it. If you see a project and it's like all Bored Ape holders, people think that these are like VC fund managers or something who like understand the business world. I'm like, fam, these idiots bought pictures of monkeys for $800 a year ago. Like, they had no idea what was going on. This is not some they planned this whole thing on, scripted and knew it was going to take over the world, and this is some financial investment strategy. I was like, no, these people did a slot machine, and it happened to be Bored Apes in August. And that's all it is. Like right now it's people gambling on pictures based on brand, and whoever can sway their audience to believe in their brand the most and believe in their project and people who are buying that project. And, you stack your team up with people who are competent. And that's really the only thing people are betting on, or at least that's what I bet on, is the people on the team. Most people are just betting on hype. And that's why most people are losing money. And so that's the reason NFTs work, because that's the reason casinos work. Most people lose money in casinos, but it's that little chance that you might make $1 million that people always come back, even though they lose all their money every single time. So that's why my channel took a pivot into NFTs education about it. Cause I was like, this stuff is hard, and I can't flip my way up. Like I thought I could just flip my way up to be a Bored Ape holder, but that's like not a thing. Like very rarely can you just flip your way up to the top. It's way harder than it sounds. Just like making content on YouTube is harder than it sounds, and staying consistent on even TikTok is harder than it sounds. So I said, fuck it, I'm going to start selling these shovels and telling people how to make shovels instead of fucking mining for these projects that most of these aren't going anywhere. And that was way more fun for me. And it also gave me an opportunity to really learn about these projects because it was my job. And so it was perfect.
Do you think that the mentality is healthy for the whole NFT market as a whole, and like what the future of NFTs will hold? Because like the smart contract technology is so good. And like you said, the infrastructure earlier is kind of how you explain it to people, because that's what really matters in the long run and why it's going to take over. Is it unhealthy that everyone's treating it just as gambling? And is it really hurting the kind of the reputation of NFTs? Because like, I don't know anyone of the older generation that'll touch it because of that whole like that idea around it, where I feel like a lot of talent is just blowing through it because everyone is just so gung-ho 50x, I want it now, casino. Where I just think that's like if we could just stop and take it a little more seriously, it'll help everyone in the long run much faster.
It would, in the long run, it would help. In the short term, it would suck because people would leave the space, because probably 90% of the reason people are in it is because the idea that they could make $1 million tomorrow. If that gets wiped, most people leave. But that's also the same idea with crypto. If you suddenly can't make exorbitant amounts of money swing trading dumb microcaps, then like that's a big part of the movement behind crypto. It's the idea that you can change your life. And Dogecoin changed my life as a joke, but it accidentally changed my life. And like that's the reason I got into like crypto like super, super hard, because I literally turned $200 into like 20 grand or whatever it was. And I was just like, oh, I can do that again. Totally. That's easy. I can just pick the next coin that'll do that. And so I think it's that belief and idea that you can do that. And also the thrill that you can buy an NFT tomorrow and you could potentially make a 25x the next day. That dream is very, very important. And I think if that disappears, the space gets boring, and all the people who are like all the newbies won't be there. So it would suck in the short term, but in the long term, I don't think it would affect anything. But right now it's the gold rush. I think it's the same for everything. Like all the OG people in the business world always talk about the .com bubble and how everything was a gold rush there. We talk about the land grabs back in way, way long years and years and years ago. It was a land grab. It was a cash grab. It was a money grab. That's how it is with every industry in the beginning. I don't think it's any different. I just think it's so stupid that people can't wrap their heads around it because it's pictures of monkeys. Like people just can't wrap their heads around that. And I'm just like, if you could just look past that for 3 seconds, you could just not look at it in that way and like stop judging it, you maybe would understand that it's no different from literally any other industry that's ever popped up ever, So yeah, I would say that.
I agree. I think that just makes more opportunity for us too. So, I mean, I'm not even that mad, because for us that are building in this space.
Oh, I'm not mad. I'm taking advantage.
Yeah, just taking massive advantage, because we ain't playing the lottery game, but we building.
Yeah. So I had a question. I've been seeing on some of your posts and stuff talking about earning passive income from the NFTs that you have. I would love to hear just a little bit about that. How does that work?
Yeah. So I made 2 NFT collections in like June or July, right when I was getting started, and I was like, you know what? And I didn't know anything. I all I knew was you buy pictures and some go up, some go down. That's all I knew really. And I saw photography NFTs were starting to pick up on Twitter. And I saw Alex Becker, this guy I follow, tweet about Fidel. And he was like, yo, this art is fucking awesome. This photography is dope. It's going to go to the moon. And I was like, I don't know. And I'm a photographer, so it's harder for me to appreciate photography. And so I ended up skipping out on it because I just didn't have the liquid that I would have wanted to use for an art piece because I didn't think it would go up in value. I thought only PFPs could go up in value. So I skipped out on it. Of course, the next day went to the moon and I was like, okay, fuck me. And then, so that happened and I saw, okay, photography sets can do well. And this was like I think a set of like 100. And I was like, well, shit, I'm a pretty good photographer. I've been traveling the world for the past 6 months. I have baller photos in my album. What am I doing? So and also they're black and white. And I said, okay, well, I've always loved black and white, so silhouettes and stuff like that. Minted a collection of like 20 just because I wanted to be able to sell it out in case it didn't sell out. I want to have 100 and just have like 89, like 90 of them still up. And so I did 20 just for fun. And like a couple of days, I was posting content on Twitter, on TikTok, on Discord. I was chilling like 24/7. And, I think I sold like 1, maybe 2, and they were super cheap. I think I sold for like 0.03 ETH, which is like $75 or $100 or something. And 2 of them sold. I was super pumped about it. And then I was in the middle of door dashing. I just picked up this Domino's box, I think it was. Domino's pizza on the seat next to me. And then in my little DoorDash bag, I had an ice cream sandwich type deal going. So I had to do 2 deliveries. And as I'm doing the delivery, I get a ping on my notification. And it's like, boop. OpenSea, your item is sold. And I was like, fuck yeah, I made a sale. And I was like, hell yeah. And it was like, boop, like you sold. And I was like, oh my God, he must have bought 2. And then it was like, boop, 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 boop. And it was like 18 of them go by. And I was like, oh my God. And I didn't know what happened. I thought my phone was glitching. And so I immediately went over there and I was like, oh my God, I don't even know what happened. Went on my Twitter and it was like 20 notifications. And I was like, holy shit, I've never had 20 notifications. And then I saw the reason it blew up is because Fidel, literally the guy I skipped out on, bought my NFT and then tweeted about it and said, this art is dope. You're lucky I only bought 1 or 2, whatever, and sold out immediately. And the day before that, I had set up my Discord and my Twitter to look like a NFT creator, NFT content creator / photographer / artist or whatever. So I set everything up. And so it was perfect. People saw my stuff. They looked at me like, oh, this is some photographer, a guy who travels the world. This is amazing. So they jumped in my Discord, had like 20 people in there on day 1. And I kind of just built from there. But then, yeah, I just started building from there. And the NFTs kind of grew in value as my brand grew on YouTube. That's really where the value comes in now, because they were sitting on a floor of like nothing for a long, long time. And I made a second collection, same plan there, just to see if it would work. I was very small on YouTube, still had like less than 1,000 subscribers maybe, and dropped that collection. A few sold here and there. And then I made a video about it and sold out the collection on YouTube. So I believe in making content about it. And then it's about the value you bring, like just like you do on your TikTok. Like it's about you making people feel good when they watch your stuff and you bring some kind of helpful anything to their life. And they appreciate that. And if your NFT isn't super expensive, a lot of times they'll buy in. And so the value just goes up and then you get those diamond holders. But as far as passive income, passive income, it comes from secondary sales. So you make a baller ass video and your NFT is listed for something that's like somewhat cheap, and someone new comes along and they snag it, I get 10%. I don't know how much other people have put the royalties on, but I think for smaller collections, especially 10% is totally appropriate. So I make 10% per royalty. I usually make a few sales per month, someone just flipping and stuff like that. And so I've been able to consistently make like anywhere from, I think my lowest was probably 200 in a month. But I've made up to $1,000 passive, just straight up airdropped into my MetaMask. It's fucking wild.
Yeah. So were you when you made your photography art collection, were you making you weren't making videos about NFTs, were you? Because you said you had set up your Discord and all that to be later. An NFT artist. So were you mostly going to just do NFT art content about photography and stuff like that? Like how did it switch from you making photography, NFTs, and focusing on your art and being like a personal NFT artist to then, making like NFT content for the masses in terms of like the more PFP projects and investment and stuff like that?
So I made that collection and I thought I was going to be I thought I was still traveling at that point. It was like no chance of stopping. I was just continuing on with what I was doing. I was door dashing. There was no plan to stop traveling. And I was like, dope, I'm just going to do NFTs and I'll be an NFT content creator. I'll just make art. And it was not going to be YouTube videos. It was going to be travel videos. And then I was going to be that travel dude who makes dope travel pictures and then sells out their collections. That was like the plan. And did that for a while. And my Discord was basically just like any other Discord in the beginning. Well, way in the beginning. Now there's not so much of this. It's just a bunch of, I don't know. We were all so early that we were like so early that we just like had no one knew what they were doing. So we were all just in there like guessing at stuff. Like no one knew how to do anything. We were like, what is this MetaMask thing? Like, how do we do anything? And so it's more just like an intro to NFTs, intro to this world Discord. And so I would like put all my energy into that and made some dope connections in there, dope friends in there. And we pretty much just did NFT stuff in there, trading, flipping, talking about NFTs. It was a place where you could actually talk about it and not feel shamed, and like people would actually get what you're saying because they want to be there. Mm-hmm. And so I made that content. And then one day I was in my car in a parking lot in, I don't know where I was. It may have been like Idaho or some random mall. And I was like pulled up in the shade. I was making a rap and I was like, you know what? I'm going to make an NFT video just real quick. Just set my camera up on my cooler and just talk about NFTs real quick. And I just spitballed and like 20 minutes later I said, oh shit. That was dope. I'm way better at that than I am vlogging, and that was not painful. I could totally do that. And vlogging, as you guys know, sucks. Especially if you're by yourself, it's just hard. You gotta set the camera up everywhere. You gotta like walk 10 feet, put the camera down, walk back, film it, and get your camera and like edit it. And it's all this work. And so I hated vlogging. I wanted to get out of that situation. I've always wanted to make videos from my room. I've been making videos on YouTube for like 10 years. I did soccer videos, I did travel videos, self-help, fitness, like all the things. And it was really annoying that I had to go do shit to make content. I was like, why do I have to go and like do stuff? Why can't I just say things and that be the content? And so that's when I realized, like, oh, it's what's up here. If I can, saturate this whole thing, that's my brain, that this could work.
That's smart. So you're kind of thinking longevity too. I mean, did you think too, did you see that the NFT area and space on YouTube is obviously a lot less crowded too than travel videography? So like we went down such a similar path. I mean, and then all of a sudden we're like switching over and a couple NFT videos are working. We're really realizing that like we like it and we enjoy making content of this too. And then it's like, oh wait, and there is no competition right now. I mean, relatively. I mean, how many people are trying to be travel filmmakers? I mean, it's thousands and thousands. So like we noticed from a business side too, it's like, oh, we have an actual real chance to make something of this like a lot easier than anywhere else right now because it's up and coming and whatnot.
Yeah, 100%. With NFTs, we were so dumb early. Like now, I mean, I say we're early, but I don't know how early we really are. We're early in terms of the mainstream, but we're not really early as far as people who are in the cult. If you're in the cult and you're just joining the cult, you're late. Sorry.
Yeah.
I know everyone says we're early, and we are early in the grand scheme of things. But if you pop into NFT Twitter and Discord, you're very late. You're very, very, very late. You're 6 months late.
Yeah.
The people that know what they're doing, for the most part, got in back like towards it. I think maybe like October is probably the cutoff before like for like OG. If you got in before like November, October, you're probably OG in this space. Yeah, I know you guys just made the cut. Because anything after that, like you still haven't gone through all the cycles.
Made the cut. But I remember you saying, I don't know when.
Because it's like it takes a while.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure. Big learning curve.
I remember you said, Cade, at one point, getting in when you did was like trying to become a YouTuber 10 years ago. Like this was.
Yeah.
You knew how early it was from the start, just going off of Matt's point.
Do you think it's still early for creators though? Like, do you think that's separated? Like, I know a ton of people know what NFTs are and a bunch of people have spent, 6 months now diving in, but I wouldn't say that all these guys are creating content and filling all those holes. Cause I mean, I still go online and type in like just questions and there's just nothing for it. And then now I got to go into a Discord and try to figure it out and ask questions there, which just means there's a lack of content out there, which seems like it needs to be filled.
Yeah, I think for me, I saw the hole in the fact that it was just a couple big YouTubers talking about it when they had time. And other than that, there was like two guys, Giancarlo and NFTverse. They were like the big hitters. And everyone else was just shilly content. Buy this project. And it was like clearly they got paid off. It was like so painfully obvious. And I said, okay, well, there's nobody making any kind of helpful content as far as what any of these projects actually are or what they actually have to offer. They just say, this project's dope. Look at the art. Look at how many followers they have. Go buy it. That was literally the video. And I remember I'd always watch these videos and I'm like, man, I lost brain cells watching that. Like, how did I literally lose brain cells? And so I was like, okay, well, I can actually help these people out and fill a niche. And so a big news happened. A 16-year-old kid dropped a collection. It blew up. And I was like, oh my God, this is trending on Twitter. And I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm going to make a YouTube video and clickbait the shit out of it. Clickbaited it. It worked. And in that video, I was super educational and research based on it and very non-biased. I didn't buy into the project, so I didn't care. And so I made that video and it like didn't take off, but it got way more views than normally. And I got a huge reception about people saying, oh, we needed this. And I was like, okay, this was needed. It wasn't just me thinking this. So I started just balls to the wall 2 times a day kind of thing. DoorDash for 10 hours, come back, film 2 videos, edit the videos until 3 a.m., post the videos in the morning, and then just like do that. And so, yeah, I think for me, I filled that niche early, and now everyone's trying to fill that niche. Now there's a bunch of people making their research-based videos, which is great because I can't cover the whole space. I can only cover what I can cover. But as far as like other content, yeah, there's plenty of room. It's just about whether or not people. It's mainly the perspective. I think the perspective is what allowed me to fill that hole, because that niche it still isn't the best niche for views. Like I still don't get remotely close to many views as some of these YouTubers, and I truly believe that I have way more value to offer than some of their videos, just because the content that I'm bringing them is just not searched right now. Like most people in NFTs are looking for the next big 100x. And because most of them are new, and after you're in this space for 6 months, like that's why a lot of my followers are people who've been in this space for a while. And then just like if newbies come in this space and just happen to click my video, I usually get a really warm welcome from them, just because they're like, this is really refreshing. But right now there's a ton of people making the same content. It's the same videos, the same thumbnails, the same titles, the same everything. It's just buy this project. And I'm like, if you watch 10 videos saying buy these projects, 9 of them are going to have all of the same projects in the same video and no different information. So if you can come in the NFT space with a different mindset in thinking, I want to fill this specific niche, even though it won't have as many views, it's the long-term mindset for me. And I take it to the extreme because I'm not even looking to be an NFT YouTuber. I'm looking to be like a Joe Rogan. I'm looking to be like absolutely blowing past this industry. I'm not trying to be condensed into this NFT world. I have plans for like my brand in the same way that like Full Send has, like they started as like a comedy channel, and then they're like, well, we're kind of like lifestyle too. And they're like, well, we're kind of beer. And they're like, okay, we're actually trying to be like the #1 brand in the world just in general. And that's kind of how I look at my brand. And I think there's a lot of NFT creators right now that are thinking a little bit too short-term focus, just trying to get as many bags as they can, which I respect, like chase the bag, but it's just not going to work long-term. They're going to fizzle out and die off, because if there's too many of the people doing the same thing and you haven't done anything different, you're gonna be dusted. Like someone else is gonna come in who's better than you, and they're gonna have better content, and they're just gonna leave you on the floor, and you're gonna have nobody left. So it just makes better sense for me in the long term, even though it stinks in the short term a little bit.
Completely agree. That's our mentality too, for sure.
I did want to circle back real quick. I love that you went down the trail of talking about your photography, NFTs, and all that. I was more asking I genuinely don't know, and I'm curious. Are you making passive income from any of the NFTs that you have, like the big PFP collections?
Like staking, you mean, right?
Like staking or something like that? Or is the only income you get from them if you flip them?
So for me, the only passive income I get from my NFTs is by anyone buying and selling my NFTs. So I just get the royalty off that. And then I have a couple projects that give me passive income from staking them. But they're super like, I don't even like look at it ever. It's just like sitting there. I'm like, I'll pull it out at some point if I see the project mooning, and that's really only the time that coin will have any value anyway. But there's a couple of projects that I'm making. Like I think in general they bring me like anywhere from $10 to $50 a day. It just depends on like how the coin's doing literally that day. And some days, like I remember there was a point where they were like mooning really hard, and I took a lot of profit out, and I think my coin was worth like $12 or something, and it was worth 50 cents a few days before. And so I had like a few $100s, and it turned into like multiple thousands, and I was like, holy shit. And so I have a couple of those projects that are doing that, and right now they're virtually like, I mean, they're worth a few $100 or a few thousand, I'm sure. But I don't like take any passive income from that. The only passive income I take is from the NFTs or the passive income from my NFTs, because that gets dropped into my MetaMask. If I have to go do it like for my other NFT project, the PFPs, I have to go and like swap that on Uniswap and then like transfer it to my account and like do all this stuff. And I don't even like care. I don't know. I'm just going to let it sit. If I start to see stuff on Twitter about it, I'll pull it out. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. That is kind of what I thought. I had just seen a couple places of people saying like, stake your NFTs, you can earn passive income. And it just seemed to me like it would be so complicated. You have to be so involved in the ecosystem and actually be there doing things all the time to actually get that passive income. So that clears it up.
It's a lie. The staking I don't think maybe like 3 projects in the entire space can actually pull off staking. It's a ticking time bomb. Most projects is just going to die one day. It's just like, all right, your coins are useless. Even though you're making coins, like you were getting passive income, but they're not worth anything. So there's only a couple of projects that can pull it off, and it's the ones with like the biggest brands. If they have a huge following and there's a ton of volume circulating, then yeah, the coin's worth something because people are using it for some specific reason. If their coin has any utility in their ecosystem, it has to be a big enough ecosystem where it's actually being used by a stupid amount of people, because it's really hard to give value to a coin. The only reason ApeCoin is working is because the Bored Ape Yacht Club ecosystem and brand is so strong. Almost, I would say probably there's not a single project in the NFT space that could pull it off besides Bored Ape Yacht Club to the level they've done it.
Bored Ape Yacht Club, yeah, I agree. That one was crazy. I didn't know anything about it until it was dropped, and now that we're in Austin, it like dropped during what was the festival called again? Oh my gosh,
South by Southwest.
South by Southwest, and all of a sudden we're just walking around town, and I am just seeing NFT here, Bored Ape Yacht Club, just ape. We got people coming, like talking to us in restaurants, like, "Hey, you guys bought the ape? You guys bought the ape, right?" And we're just like, I'm like, whoa, like. Oh my gosh, like just random people in Austin walking up, and just like people are wearing like NFTs finally as necklaces. Fuck? It was crazy. Yeah, it was cool.
What?
Yeah, it was nuts.
Oh, that was at the event, right?
Yeah.
Well, so South by Southwest is a festival in Austin. It's all about music, tech, and it's huge. There's people from all over the world that come. So the city, it was flooded with so many people. And
so many NFTs. Like you can see like people just like putting like little, I don't even know how they did it, like electronic necklaces. It looked like they stored like an iPod Touch in there, and they just had those like walking around. It was pretty crazy actually. I was like, this is really expanding. I was like, this is finally getting out.
I have one.
You have one?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a couple NFTs that are like in cases, I guess it's called.
Are they electronic? How do you do that? Or are they prints?
So this one was made by Nifty Labs, and you can scan it. I think you can scan it potentially, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know what this. I think it's just more of like a collectible.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, sorry. I think it's more of a collectible, and so here I'll show it to the camera first. But
oh yeah, your subduck. Yeah. I saw you post that.
I don't even know if it's in focus. Yeah, so I have my subduck, and then it's like a collectible card.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if my camera's picking that up. I think it is. And then I also made one for my NFT. Like the same style inside of like a glass case thing, and I like wrote something on the back, and so it's fun because it like brings into that, it bridges the gap, bro. It bridges the gap.
Yeah.
In real life and metaverse.
Yeah, it's getting everywhere. I mean, even the trucks here in Austin, like the metro buses. I mean, like the whole backside of the metro buses is like Bittrex or some crypto exchange now. It's awesome. It's getting everywhere.
I haven't even noticed that.
You haven't? Every bus.
They're taking over all the sponsorships. Everyone's getting sponsored by Crypto.com. They bought Staples Center Arena. They got. I don't think people realize. Well, you guys definitely realize because you guys are sponsored by Solsi, but people do not realize how much money is circulating in this NFT market right now. It's brand deals times 20. Like that's why these influencers are selling their souls for these brand deals, because like they literally can't turn them down. It's such a big bag. It's disgusting. Like they're paying influencers like $2-3 million to just, I don't know, fucking make a tweet about them. Like it's insane. Like some of the numbers I've seen from people that are very big in this space and how much they've allegedly made is probably less than they actually made. And it's ridiculous. Like, I don't know. Like, I think some of the money comes because some of the people on the team who are like behind the scenes are like massive VC fund investors, or they bought Bitcoin when it was worth like 30 cents. And they've literally got like $50 billion in their bank account. And they're just like walking around like normal people, and they just don't tell anybody. And they just pay off these people thinking it's going to work. They don't understand. But like, it's ridiculous how much money is in this industry right now. I went full time in YouTube at 1,000 subscribers because there's so much money in this world. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
No, absolutely. I mean, imagine telling the YouTubers 10 years ago that what you could do nowadays in this market with 1,000 subscribers, like the brand deals, the angles you can work. Yeah. I mean, they would laugh at you and be like, like ad revenue is like, I mean, like I really am excited to be monetized with the channel and all that, but that's more of just like a personal goal and just the milestones. Like that is the last thing on my mind is like ad revenue nowadays. It's all just the other income streams.
I would love to get into that. So how
sponsorships.
Yeah. How did your first sponsorship come to be? Were you making calls? Were you reaching out to people working it, or did they find you? How did that work?
I made a video called Questions I Have for Space Apes. It was a project that I was super involved in and invested in, sort of. I forget if I was already bought in, but I was really interested in them. I was grinding in their Discord, trying to get whitelists, and I was super excited about the project. And so I just made a video, and I was like, yo, I got some concerns. At this point, I had been making some videos, and so I was like, what's the plan here? What is this thing you're doing? Why haven't you guys doxed? Why haven't you done all these things? So I asked all these tough questions, but not to a point where I was like being an asshole. I was just genuinely curious, and I came from that angle of being curious about it. I think I had the right tone, and they literally reached out, and they're like, yo, we love that video, and we saw your archive of videos you've made. Do you want to be like our alpha Discord person? And I was like, all right. And so I was like, what does that mean? And they're like, well, just post the video you're going to post and make it unlisted and just give it to our community first. And that'll be like a value bit for our Discord that other people can't get because you're in our Discord. So you have to be in our Discord and be a holder. So it must have been after, because it was like you have to be a holder. And if you are, you get my information first. And not all my content is time sensitive, but some of it's very time sensitive. So it actually did help them in certain cases. People got into certain projects early, where I found out something that was like kind of like under the wraps still, and I wasn't really telling anyone other than my Discord, my small Discord, the OG Royal Palace, and so I did that, and then I was just in the Discord answering questions. They had access to me. At that point, I wasn't huge or anything, but there were some people who had watched my videos, and so they were like, oh, we have a YouTuber in our thing. And you know, the word YouTuber is a buzzword now. So if you say you're a YouTuber, people are like, wah. And so like it was fine. It was more of like a leverage point, I guess, for them to be able to use me. And so they were able to finance me. And I used them. That was my only source of income for a while. I just said, fuck it, I'm quitting DoorDash. I'm just going to roll with this. I feel like if I had 10 hours back a day, I could make more content, and that would help me out long term, even though I wouldn't be able to make as much money. And so that's what I did, you know, and so I took that chance, just like you guys always say. It wasn't a huge chance because I could literally just go to work. But I did take the chance and say, fuck it, I'm not going to work. I'm just going to do these YouTube videos, which is crazy. And they're going to pay me, and I'm just going to make this work. And then eventually my brutally honest reviews became a thing. And then I found a way to monetize that, and I was like, fuck yeah. And so it's just been, that's been the route. I've kind of parted ways from Ugaverse since then, or formerly known as Space Apes. We've branched off. They're going in a different direction than I'm headed, and so we mutually just kind of just like walked away from each other. There's no problem, and yeah.
So, are you, now that you even have more of a base and you've been doing this for a little longer, you're more confident, everything, does that make it so you have more companies hitting you up and you have to do less kind of selling of yourself, or are you reaching out now more than ever because you kind of have a strong base and you feel better, like I can go get these brand deals, I know what I'm doing, like look at the value? Or are you now, because of all that, just sitting back and they're coming to you?
I have not reached out to anyone. Lucky for me, I'm the only one who does these brutally honest reviews the way I do them. Other people do the reviews, but it's not their thing because it's not monetizable for most people. It's not going to get views, so why do it? You know, that's the main reason that it's the only reason my brand works, is because no one sees the value in the reviews as well as I do. And so they don't put as much effort in, and they don't, like, I think I've made like 80 review videos already. And so I've done so many of them that I'm like the only person people hit up for that. And anyone who is a YouTuber, a fellow YouTuber who gets an offer and they say, hey, we want a review video, they literally just turn them away and just send them to me sometimes because they don't want to do it. They're like, I don't know. Either they do promos or they don't do anything for a lot of people. And for me, I made the decision super early because that is the brand, was not to do the promos, not to just be every other NFT YouTuber. And so I said, okay, the only way I can do a brand deal or not a brand deal, any kind of deal would have to be review based. I have to be able to be honest and not sell my soul for this little bag. It's the only way that I can make this work and not literally lie to my supporters. Like that's the only way you can do it. And so I did the reviews, and I had one company reach out. It was some anime company, some anime girl company. It was called Cyber Waifu. Cyber Waifu. Waifu is Japanese for wife. And I did the review video on them. It was dope. I got like a few $100 for it, and I was like, holy shit, that was wild. I just got paid $300 or whatever it was for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours of work. It's like $100 an hour, and I didn't have to like go do stuff. And so I kind of rolled with that, and I think I got like one offer maybe every 10 days, And then now I'm in this space now. I've kind of become the person for that. So I don't have to reach out or anything. It's really, really, really great. The sponsorship would be best. If I can get a sponsorship, if I can get a brand deal, that stuff only comes when you have more views though. So that's way later down the line, I think, for me. You kind of have to have the numbers. Otherwise, the brand deals, a lot of them are Web 2 based. So they can't think in that way. They only look at numbers and logistics, unfortunately. And so it's going to be hard for me to land a brand deal. But once I do that, I probably will not do many paid reviews. Every now and then I do, because in a way it's helpful to everybody involved, because when I make a review about a new project, I'm vetting them live when I'm reviewing them. Like, I don't know anything about them. I say yes, unless it looks like absolute trash and there's nothing there, then I'll say no. But for the most part, I get paid to vet the project, which is good because the people who watch it get to see how I vet. They get to decide for themselves, is this project shit or is it dope? And so I'm not selling them anything. I'm just going through the project. And so it helps everybody. It also helps the project. They look at the project and I'm reviewing them and I'm like, oh, this sucks. This isn't good. They need to work on this. They need to do more on that. Here's something they're doing good. It helps them out from that perspective as well. And that's why I've always seen the value in the reviews other than just the numbers. And so I kind of just roll with that. And so, yeah, I don't have to reach out, which is amazing. Like, I would hate to reach out. I know some project founders who talk shit about that because they're like, a YouTuber will reach out and then be like, yo, I love your project. I want to do a video on them. Give me money. And it's just like, that's just not the way to do it. So
yeah, I mean, it seems like you hit the jackpot in terms of doing review videos. Yeah, it's helpful for your followers. It's not the promo videos that's just going to basically steal their money and pump the own YouTubers' bags. Yeah. So it's just crazy to hear that. Yeah, it seems like you found like the perfect way to do this, and it's kind of surprising to me that no one else wants to do these review videos when I see like, yeah, that is where the value is, and that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, especially because I mean, like you said, once you get a little bigger too, you can really add the sponsorships. I feel like just on top of it too. You don't even have to get rid of them. I mean, you can just all of a sudden now have a coffee cup with one logo here and, just a couple little things, and damn, yeah, next level, quick. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, pretty much. I want to get away from the paid videos though, if I can. I would love to even do review videos that I would normally get paid for and not pay them, because a lot of these new projects don't have a ton of money. So it would be fun to be able to do that, because my goal with like, I feel like I've thought through all these things beforehand. Like I try and think 10 years in the future for certain things, and then think 1 year in the future for certain things, and a few months, like splitting up what I think about in terms of perspective of time. And so with money, I've like meditated on the idea that one day I have a lot of money, and like, what does that look like for me, and what am I doing differently, what am I not focusing on so much? And like, for me, the goal is I don't want to be a billionaire. I don't need to be the richest person ever. I just need to not worry about rent, and I need to not worry about going to Starbucks 4 times a week minimum, and I need to just not worry about things like that. I just want to be able to do that and just not bat an eye. If we want to go to Disney World, yes. Like, we want to go and travel to Thailand, yes. The answer is yes, because I can do it. There's enough freedom in my life where I can't afford to do that. That's really the only goal with money. And so I'm excited to be able to do stuff, like at some point when I have enough money to fuck around and do things. I want to join like an MMA gym. I want to get a what's it called, massage therapy license, and like spend some time doing that. So I'm excited for all that. Like, I'm not just trying to get money so I can just invest the money and never use any of it, like a lot of people do in the finance world. They just get money, throw in the S&P, and never use any of the money that they work so hard for. It makes no sense to me. Like, I just need enough to be able to do that.
I completely agree. It's a tool. I see it as a tool. It allows for opportunity, and it's a tool. Yeah. I mean, anyone who doesn't like money, I just feel like almost doesn't know how to spend it right. Because like for us, it's like once you got those bases covered, it's like, well, money still helps in every way. It's like, all right, well, you want to help the world. You want to go discover a new cure, you want to do any of these different things, like, all right, well, you still need money to get that done. You can now fuel investments to do cool things. You can go out and spend your time because you have money and clean up the ocean. You can do all these different things. I agree. Exactly. I see it as a tool to just do what I want to do faster and at a bigger level. I don't want it to run me. I agree. I love that.
So I was asking people in my Discord what they would want me to ask you, and Bryce asked something that I just want to talk about because I think it's important, and you are like the best person to kind of answer this. He was asking how artists can push past the dip where they're making content about their art or about whatever it is that they're making content about, but they're not getting views. And how do you push past that?
Wasn't there a key part of that though? He said in 2 weeks, like after a few weeks.
Oh yeah, I think he said that.
That's what stuck out to me. I'll let you answer that first, but He said, I'm not getting views after a few weeks.
Yeah. Well, honestly, you can bite the bullet early and just decide, okay, my content's not very good. Like there's certain videos that I know for a fact don't do well for the algorithm. People don't watch them very much, but I'm okay with 9 people seeing it because those 9 people need to see that video and it helps them. And so I still make those videos. I still do podcasts about myself, even though I'm going to get a fifth of the amount of views, because there are a small group of people who want that podcast and do care. For whatever reason, they do want to hear me babble for an hour and a half. And so I still post those videos and I still do it because I know that helps the brand of Cade and of Joy's Kingdom. Like it helps the brand of who I am, and it gives more depth to any video I post. If I make a video that's super superficial, it still has more depth because it's me making the video to those people. And so I think depending on what you're trying to do, if you're trying to make content with the intent to make sales, you probably won't make sales. It's really hard to do that kind of thing. You do need to get a base support of people. People need to be on your side for some reason. If they're not on your side, it means you haven't brought to the table anything helpful. You know, it's like you showing up to a frat party with nothing in your hands. You didn't bring beer. You didn't bring anyone attractive with you. Like you show up with empty-handed, like no one's going to let you into this frat party. So it's kind of like that with social media. You have to fill some niche. You have to fill some kind of gap that people aren't filling. If you're on TikTok saying, man, people need to make this kind of content. No one's making this kind of content. This is so annoying. It's like, well, that's a green light for you to start making that kind of content. Even if it's not something you love, at least you can get some value out to people. And then that's where your personality is going to shine no matter what, because it's going to be you talking. And so you make that video, you get a few people listening. They say, man, really, like, thank you for making that content. That was really helpful. And then you start making content about your NFTs, throwing in there every third video is about your NFTs, how NFTs related, how NFTs helped you with this, how you can tie this to NFTs. And then you have to get creative. You have to maybe take some psilocybin, figure out some ways to like tie everything to NFTs. And you can kind of just like build on that. But it's going to take a fat minute, especially if you've never made content before. It's not like you can just show up, buy a camera, and you're good to go. Like, just like you guys say, everything's built on bricks on bricks on bricks on bricks. You know, you guys have been making videos for a very, very long time. I've been making videos for a very, very long time. And it's the accumulation of all that shit and all the things that didn't even have anything to do with you making videos that led you to be able to do this thing now, where you guys have the sickest podcast studio ever and you're sponsored by a massive company that's very legit. It's just like people see that and they think, well, all she did was just put her phone up in front of a camera and put some funny music on and just talk about NFTs, and now she's 100,000 subscribers. What the fuck? And it's like, bro, that's not even remotely close to what the story is.
Not even close. I mean, 2 weeks. I mean, 2 weeks, you can't even post like enough videos to even kind of know what you're doing in 2 weeks, let alone start a whole community and get it going. It's like, I mean, I've heard this multiple times. It's like your first 50 videos suck. Like they suck. And even if you think they're good, once you make 50 and you blow through that point, you're going to look back no matter what and go, yeah, you got to know. Because I thought, you know, our first 10, I was like, oh, you know, they're getting pretty good. Then all of a sudden, you know, we're on video 30. I'm like, ooh, those were awful. But now we're getting it. Okay, I'm getting a little more comfortable. I get editing. I get the flow pacing. And then you're on video 80 and you're like, oh, now I'm getting it. Okay. So it's just like, you got to have a long-term vision. I mean, we were like that in the beginning too. Every day when we first started the YouTube channel, checking analytics, how long are people watching, where, you know, but it's like, oh gosh, you can't even do that. You're just going to drive yourself crazy. And if that's what you're worried about and you're not making the content for any other reason, like you said in the beginning, I mean, you probably shouldn't be making this regardless. If you can't make these videos for the next 2 years, you shouldn't be making it. I mean, I think I saw like a statistic. I mean, the average YouTuber to get going, just to make enough income to barely get by, on average takes 3 years. Like 3 years of posting. Yeah. And all of us can vouch for that. I mean, so it's like 2 weeks. I mean, that's 100%. I don't mean to be rude, but that's hilarious. Like, come on.
Yeah. So I think 2 main points. One, what you hit on, Cade, is you have to fill a niche. You have to provide some sort of value. Like, look at your content. Not everyone. A lot of people can make pretty videos or cool art, but if it's not helpful, if it's not like making a real impact on someone's day, like people aren't going to watch it. There's lots of cool art. There's lots of pretty videos out there. Like you need to actually be moving some sort of needle. And then time, like we just said, it takes so long to build a brand for yourself and to get good at doing things, you know, like 10,000 hours to become an expert at doing something. You can't expect to do anything at all for 2 weeks and think you're going to be any sort of good. Like that's just
Even if you had a mentor, I'm like, dude, I can't even teach someone half the stuff we've learned in 2 weeks, sitting with you every day, all day.
It's the problem is they're looking at the exceptions. Yeah, they're looking at Charlie D'Amelio and saying, why can't it happen to me? And it's like, that's literally a lottery ticket. That's not a thing. You can't just choose that and be like, well, it happened to them. It's like, it will not happen to you. Just accept that it will happen to you, and maybe it will. Maybe it will happen to you. But for people to say, oh, my videos aren't doing well, I can't empathize with them. I understand what that feels like. But don't think that just because you're feeling that's not a common feeling. It is. What I've learned is that I don't think humans are as dumb as we think. I think humans are smarter than we think. But also, every thought you've ever had has already been thought of by somebody else. It's not your unique idea, more than likely. I had the exact same ideas that everyone else was having when they're getting started. Why is this getting views? Why is this getting views? I had those ideas since I was 12. Or like 10, or I don't know how old I was, when I was making the videos in middle school about my soccer. Why is only 30 people watching this video, 300, 200, 400, when Free Kickers is getting 4 million? Why am I only getting 400? And I dealt with that literally for like 10 years. So it's just like one of those things that you think it's just you against the world, and everything's working against you, and that's just not the case. And also, with the value bit you brought, there's a million ways to inject value into your content. There's this girl on TikTok who, it's her and her boyfriend. They live this like, they have a nice apartment and they have an aesthetic gym. That's it. They probably make normal money. They probably have a normal ass 9-to-5 job. But the way they can convey their content is you're in control of everything that you put out. So what they do is they make these little mini vlogs on TikTok that are about 10 seconds to 30 seconds at most. And the only difference they make is they drop the brightness down a little bit so it's a little bit more cinematic. And then they just add in everything. Every other clip is like slow-mo. So it's like very visually aesthetic and pleasing to watch. And so you can't help but watch the whole thing and then comment, this is sick. And so literally that's all, they do nothing else. They don't even like do anything. They just like, it's a slow-mo of her like typing, a slow-mo of her putting her shirt on, a slow-mo of her walking through a door, and then her gym. And then it ends and like 400,000 views. And I'm like, bro, that's a brand. That's like value right there. It's just not in the value that people think. And you just got to get creative with it.
That's good advice. Definitely just needs some way, shape, or form to stand out just a little bit, just something a little different. And I just feel like that comes for everyone once you've been doing it too. So like, it's like, we didn't have any of the ideas on how to be truly original in the beginning. It came from us doing it over and over and over again. All of a sudden you slowly develop more and more ideas. You realize what parts you like more. You get more confident. It's yourself starting to come out. And if it's truly yourself and you're doing everything from the heart, there's no way you're not going to be original. I mean, if it's coming from you in some way, shape, or form, it's going to start to become original, even if you're, heavily inspired by someone.
Exactly.
Yeah. And two, it's everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone lives their own life and has their own experience. So I tell people who make content similar to me, people ask how I got started and I'm like, oh, I just shared my process of making NFTs. And I've heard people say, well, okay, well, you already did that. I'm like, well, yeah, but you sharing your process, you are a different person. You're going to go through different hiccups or have different ideas or a different way of looking at it that could be unique. So sharing about your own experience is going to be valuable. Like you can provide value that no one else provides just because you have a unique experience. And so, yeah, I say anyone who wants to make content, you just have to start. Because like we said, your first 50 videos are going to suck no matter what. So start now. Start now.
Get them over with.
Yeah, start now to get the shitty videos over with. And exactly.
Yeah, I agree. It's tough though. It's hard to get that ball started. So I think educating yourself on what to do, get some people that you like, and just, if you want to be a YouTuber, you have to literally consume 10,000 hours of YouTube. There's no other way around it. You have to find people who are good at YouTube and just watch them do their thing because they're masters at it. And if they do something that you like, copy it. Literally copy it straight word for word and just try that out for yourself. You'll figure out a way to make it yourself. Like a lot of people, when I was getting started, especially with my vlog style content, they were like, you're a carbon copy of Peter McKinnon. And some people thought it was genuine. Some people thought it wasn't. But it was because I watched 10,000 hours of Peter McKinnon. Like, I like the way he makes content. I like the energy he brings. I thought I have something in him or something in me that I see in him. And so I was like, okay, well, I don't have anything else to go with. Like, I'm a combination of Logan Paul, fucking Peter McKinnon, and like 5 other YouTubers. So I'm just going to like be a conglomerate of that and then inject myself into that slowly as I come into my own and I get my own confidence. And now like I have my own style a little bit. It's not exactly like Peter McKinnon anymore. But I also stole his 2 minutes of 2-minute Tuesdays, and I made it my own. I was like, I have 4 minutes of fun, and his is a little bit different. He goes over 2 minutes and he lets the timer expire. Mine always ends at 4 minutes, even though it never is actually 4 minutes. But I have like little different things, but I take inspiration from a variety of different places. And you have to be okay, like swallowing your pride a little bit and just kind of doing it. And knowing that people are going to laugh at you first. You know, I still don't tell people I'm a YouTuber yet, because the next question after that is how many subscribers do you have? And I'm like, oh God, now I have to like, well, I'm like just getting started like at 6,000, like you're full time. I'm like, oh, well, I have like this, I do these like things where I get the commission, and it's just like, I don't even.
Yeah, it's a tough one to explain to people. I have trouble doing it for sure. Yeah. Especially just how fast we've been switching things recently.
What do you guys say when people ask what you guys do, or if that comes up in conversation?
I say that, what have I been saying? I say that I make digital art that I sell as NFTs, and I make videos about it teaching artists how to do the same thing. That's basically what I say. Short wrap up.
I usually start with the whole filmmaking and making like commercials and product videos for companies, and then explain how kind of that's transitioned now, and we're kind of focused on NFTs and how we're now just kind of making content in that world and partnering up with different companies to help explain what it is and just make the content. That's kind of how I go down that road, because like you said earlier, I don't want to quite dive into like complete NFTs with everyone I meet, because the likelihood of them understanding is so low, and it turns into such a hard conversation so fast. It's like, oh gosh.
Yeah, it really does. And it sucks because there's probably situations where you would make a dope connection if you did have that conversation. But like the chance of that happening is probably pretty low. But it does stink. Like you never know what's going to happen, who you're going to meet. Like I always use the example of when I did a podcast with Mikey G. He was a mod in a Hate Beast Discord. And I found out he's the guy behind the Geico commercial. Like the guy behind the Geico, in charge of the budget, in charge of everything behind it. And I was like, Geico? I was like, the fucking Gecko? The 15% on car insurance Geico? He was like, yeah. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, we had like a $15 million budget every week. And I was just like, whoa, what the fuck?
And
then
week?
Like it's just insane. Like the people that you meet, like I don't know how much it was. It was ridiculous. And then like you, Sydney, you did a commission piece for the Joy Just Torch, which will come at some point. I know I wanted to wait for my community because they were like, well, we're all broke. Let's hold off. There's no reason to push this. That's why we haven't dropped that collection yet. We're gonna wait for a little bit more volume. Everyone's literally broke right now. They're like, oh, we want to buy it. They're like, we just are all broke because we spent all our money in the bull run and we didn't save for the bear run. So like everybody's broke. So okay, we'll just wait. It's no problem.
Buy high, sell low, baby.
It's random. Like we just met through a random connection. Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, are you talking about you and I meeting through a random connection?
Yeah. Well, like our connection was random as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
And then, ours was random. It was like a friend that connected us. And then like you just happened to be in NFTs and we started talking and then became friends. And then now you did a commission piece for me. You're in the NFT world just like me. We're both creating content. Who knows where the fuck we'll be in 5 years, you know?
Yeah. And I know we're kind of talking about like, don't bring it up, but I don't want to spread that message. Like, don't bring up NFTs if that's what you're in, because I have, now that we're in Austin and I'm meeting people, I have had many instances now of bringing NFTs up. And again, I pick who I do it with, but I've had, so like one guy, I was at this guy's apartment. He was having a little get together and there was this art piece on his wall that was all these like little blocks or something like that. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, will you tell me about it? And he takes this sigh and he's like, okay, so this is an NFT. And I just started dying laughing.
Oh my.
It's the same way.
God.
Same way.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, like, what do you mean? And basically it was an NFT that he bought and it was it was like an art piece, a visual representation of the blockchain. And it was this NFT that he bought and he had a big print of it. And
wow,
it was just so funny. And then we started talking. I was like, I make NFTs and I make content about it. And it was this awesome connection. And now we're good friends. And I've had a couple experiences like that. Like I was serving at the restaurant and a guy was in the NFT industry and like brought it up. He's like, you're an NFT artist. And I just want to share that because it does happen sometimes that people do know what you're talking about and you can make these cool connections.
It definitely does happen. And I feel like it's like, it's the extremes. Like I either meet someone, I bring it up and it's like, oh, hell yeah. You're in that? No way. Tell me about it. Like, whoa, should I be in it? Am I like behind? Like what's going on? Or it's, are you serious? You're one of those crazy people buying PFPs. Like, I don't even understand it. I don't even want to hear about it. Like, just good luck, buddy.
Yeah, it really is those two extremes.
Yeah, I agree. And it depends on your situation too. Like for me, I'm very aware of the stigma around YouTubers, or not stigma, but I'm aware of like the perception of what YouTubers are. It's either that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, or that's the coolest thing I've ever heard. And so for me, I'm picky, especially because I'm limited on human interaction, because right now I'm balls to the wall YouTube. I don't care about anything else.
Yeah.
And so I don't tell everyone that I'm a YouTuber, because that does kind of, like, if I met some guy at the gym and he told me he's a YouTuber, I want to be friends with him. I don't care anything. I don't care who he is. I don't care what he's about. If he's a YouTuber, I want to be friends with him. And so I'm very aware of that for young people and people our age. And so I try not to bring it up in the first couple seconds of a situation, because I want them to like me as a person first. And it's really hard because you can't even blame them. Like, just like me, if I found out my friend was famous, I'd probably want to hit them up a little bit more. Or if they were doing something that's really cool that I wanted to do, I probably would hit them up more. And I've done that before. You know, I've literally hit up someone that I don't even care about because they like hit it off with their career. And I was like, oh, this is fucking cool. Like, let's talk about it. And I was like, wow, I'm literally that guy. And so I'm aware of that side of it too. But it is fun. Yeah, it is fun though when you can connect with someone and it's very genuine and it's authentic. It's really, really cool though when that works.
Yeah. So you, like you said, balls to the walls, are only focusing on YouTube. What does your average day look like? What does going balls to the walls on YouTube look like for you?
Yeah, what's your workload?
The workload it's what I put on it. If I didn't upload every single day, I could do a lot more stuff. But since I'm not making that promotional videos, I'm very limited as far as reach. There's some YouTubers who make 2 videos a week, 3 videos a week, and they get more, probably equal to amount of views as I do, because I upload twice a day usually. But they're very relevant because they bring people money. Like, quite literally, they bring them whitelists, and in their head, whitelist equals money, even though that's not true most of the time. And so they have this perception of these people that they bring more to the table. So I have to bring more to the table because I don't offer that value. And so I have to put my name on everything. So I'm very aware of what's going on in the market. So when I wake up, it's like the most unhealthy thing ever. And I'm so aware of it, it hurts. But I wake up, I roll over it, and it's my phone immediately. It's business stuff, like immediately knock out email stuff. Like, I never thought I would say I would wake up and do emails, because I was like, who the fuck would be emailing some kid making YouTube videos? But it's crazy. Like, there's like emails coming in all the time, because everything in NFTs is like business. So there's like Twitter DMs, is messages. Waking up is the worst part of my day by far. I don't look forward to it. That's why I have trouble sleeping, because I don't want to go to sleep, so I have to wake up. I'd rather just not sleep and just go through the night, because when I wake up, I'm like, oh God, like, what happened? And like every night, like once a week or so, there's an email or a comment that like ruins my whole fucking day, and I'm just like, oh, damn it. And like, that's the worst, and that happens literally every single week.
What are those comments? What is a comment that ruins your day? Is it like a hate comment, like someone?
So yeah, if it's a comment that takes what I said and they clearly didn't watch the video, or they missed the point, I get really annoyed, because I'm just like, I had a point here and you like literally missed it, or you didn't watch the video. And so those like frustrate me. They frustrate me less after I made the series called Responding to Comments, because now I get to literally on camera vent and try and bring value of sort. And so it's fun like that. I solved that problem. But as far as like emails, it'll be like if I forgot about something that's coming up and now I got to switch my schedule up and it's stressful. It's more of like something that rises my cortisol levels. I'm just like, it's like the worst way to start a day. Like, you always want to start your day and have a gap between when you wake up and when you have to start doing stuff. And I usually don't let myself do that, because in my head, I'm like, I'd rather knock it out first so then I can relax. And the problem with me is like, I can't relax either way, because there's always something to be done. And so it's really stressful. So waking up sucks, and as the day goes on, it gets better. Like, the end of the day is like, my days are amazing. As the day goes on, it gets better and better. Like, it's like I don't even know what you call it. It's amazing. It's the way it goes up. But it like wake up and then it's like immediately tanks, and then it goes up for the rest of the day. And then like towards the end of the night, it kind of like flatlines a little bit. Because it's the same thing. I'm just like editing videos, or I'm researching for a video, or I'm networking online, I'm talking to people, or I'm doing a live or a podcast or something. I'm on Twitter so much, and I'm in Discords all the time, because I need to be aware of what's going on, because I'm in a lot of projects that have a lot going on. And so there's like certain people that I follow and certain projects that I follow that dictate a lot of what happens in the NFT market. And I need to be aware of those things happening so that I can be the first one to make a live video when something breaking news happens, because everyone else is going to make content about it. So I got to be the guy to put my stamp on it first. And if I'm not, that's why I have the glasses. Like, it's in every single thumbnail, because I need people to see that the glasses and see myself in the NFT space, so I can be a big player when I'm not making videos that are big player type of videos, if that makes sense. So it's just like 24/7 being online. It's crazy. I don't have time for anything else right now. And it's a gold rush, just like everyone's in the gold rush right now. But for me, it's gold rush times 2 because I'm gold rushing for NFTs for myself and gold rushing for my content because it's the same thing. And so it's it's wild.
So when you wake up, is it just pure sense of urgency? Is it a feeling of just behind when you wake up?
It's fight or flight. That's why I hate waking up.
I know you used to be big into lifting. Does that not solve it? I know you say you just like to get right into work to get it over with, but for me, in a lot of cases, I'm the same way. And for me to just get up and go straight to the gym before getting on my phone and getting just like some physical exertion, because nothing else will give me that satisfaction besides like raw physical exertion. That is enough to kick all that away. And when I know I'm going to wake up and get a good lift in, that helps me want to wake up more because I know I'm not going straight to the work and straight to the boring stuff because I do all the horrible things first. That's, it's the best way. The needle movers and the stuff that sucks needs to be done first. So having just maybe one thing, for me, it's that lifting helps a lot. I don't know if you've been just off it or if that doesn't work for you.
No, that's a good idea. I've never been a morning person. I've never in my life gotten shit done in the morning. That's why I always stay up late because I get a lot of things done from 12 to 3 a.m. Like I get the bulk of my real work done between 12 and 3 a.m. It's really, really bad. And like I texted Sydney at like 5 a.m. last night because I was like, I'm just going to stay up. There's no point in going to sleep now. And so I do a lot of really good work because there's no distractions. At that point, I've answered everybody. Everything has been done and everyone's going to sleep. So at that point, there's nothing left to be done. And that's when I can get shit done. And in the morning, all the things that happen overnight overseas that people are awake on during the day when I'm asleep, all their shit is my baggage now when I wake up. And for me, when I wake up, I can't like get myself to do anything until I've gone through like this checklist of going through all my socials, making sure that nothing's weird's happened. I've answered everybody. There's no business things I forgot about. There's people that I got back to. If I go to the gym, all I can think about is the fact that I haven't done those things. And if I go to the gym and I haven't edited a video or I haven't worked on something, it's really hard for me to be able to focus on anything else unless I've done that first thing and like knocked it out of the way. And I think it's because the gym doesn't bring me that validation or whatever that word is. It doesn't bring me that feeling anymore. It's because I look how I want to look, honestly. Like I worked so hard for my body for like 8 years or whatever, and I kind of achieved everything. Like I have every like for the most part, all my imperfections have been perfected for the places that I wanted to be, that I was self-conscious about. And I'm lean enough, and I'm just like, So
you don't get.
I look fine.
You don't get the
like,
feeling.
There's no point to working out.
No, I hear that. I mean, I think I've hit that spot too. But for me, it's like, it gives me the energy, and it just, that blood flow just wakes me up and clears my head more than anything. Like, I don't get, like, if I have to skip a day, I have to skip a day. Like, I'm not worried if I eat cookies all night because I don't care. Like, I'm like, I just ate 15 cookies last night. Like,
eat a lot of cookies.
I'm not too worried, but the blood flow into my brain and if you read about it too, like, it just makes you sharper. It makes you more on top of it. And it makes you feel alive and just good again. I don't know. Has that left for you?
I want to,
because I know you obviously know what I'm talking about. You've been there. I mean, you were more jacked and shredded than I've ever been. So obviously you've gotten over that hump. Has it disappeared for you?
It hasn't disappeared. I'm not as interested in lifting, I think. And the interesting is I stepped away for so long. I was traveling, so I worked out like twice a week, and it was like I worked out so I could shower. Like, that was the only reason I worked out. So I think the mentality for me has switched a little bit. I've been able to maintain my physique for the most, like 90% of my physique somehow. And so I think for me, that was the reason I worked out for so long. And so when I switched over to me not really caring anymore, it was hard for me to get the mentality to want to work out now. And now literally the only reason I go to the gym now is to fix this up here. And because it's like a mental health, fix my stupid mental health. Like, that's the reason I go to the gym. That's the reason I force myself to go on walks. It's really annoying though, because I don't enjoy them particularly until I'm like 2/3 of the way in. And I'm like, oh, that was kind of nice. Like, that was good. I'm glad I did that. But for me, it's like very, very, very hard to convince myself before I've gone to the gym or before I've gone on the walk that I will feel that. Even though I feel it every single time, I still haven't crossed the hump where I've accepted that it is good for me and I need to go anyway. I will get there because I'm getting better and I'm starting to watch fitness videos again every now and then. Like, Alex Eubank is this new YouTuber that I fucking love because he looks just like me with the hair. He's way more aesthetic than I am, so it's a little bit motivating. No, he's this kid. So I'll show you. He's just like, he's this really, really super down to earth, nice guy who's he's like a Christian guy, which I'm not a Christian, but like he's like rooted down, I guess. He's like a good person. He's not an asshole, but he looks like an asshole. And so I can relate to that because I've always been judged by the way I look. And so people think I'm an asshole. And he has the exact same shit. He's a really like wholesome dude. And so I love watching his content, and he's shredded as fuck, and he's really yoked. And so I was like, man, I'm starting to feel like the itch again to work out, but I don't know if it's the gym anymore. Like I want to join like an MMA gym and like roll around on the mats and like really exert some energy because I'm so used to this. It's so easy now to do this, and it all works. And it's just like not, I want to like ground and pound, like fast energy, high energy, fast paced stuff like that. I'm craving that. But right now I don't have, I'm like in Colorado. I want to sign up for an MMA gym and then leave like 2 weeks later. So I think I'm just like in the waiting game right now.
Until you're moved and more settled. You talk about walks a lot. We've talked about this. Why don't you like go on a walk first thing in the morning? Why is like, does that?
Because I can't clear my head. I like won't let myself. Yeah, I have to like get through all the stuff. And then when I'm there, I'm like, oh, I might as well just get this done. And then I always convince myself that that's the way to do it. I've done it like twice where I've gone for the walk first. And honestly, the main hindrance is weather. If it's fucking annoyingly hot outside or sunny, like too sunny where I'm going to be sweating, I literally am just like, no, I'll just wait. Like I wait till night because I won't sweat when I go on the walk. Like it's really annoying. That's why I'm super excited to move to Washington because the weather won't be a factor. And sometimes I'll convince myself of something that this is the way it is because of this. And there are some times where I really do believe that because it's true. And then there's some times where I know I'm lying to myself. This is one of those cases where I'm like, no, it's literally the fucking weather. Like I would go out for a walk now, but it's too sunny and hot. And I stayed up till 4 a.m. and now it's like 10 or 11 and the sun's out and it's like beaming down on me and I sweat. So it's really dumb excuses and annoying excuses.
Right on. All right. Yeah. What's next on the list, Sid? What else we got?
What's next? Yeah, I wanted to talk about, well, it's kind of just what we were talking about, like how to avoid burnout, keep your mind sane working in this industry, like you said, just like working all day, all night. But yeah, it kind of seems like it's just a hard thing to do.
It's just hard. Yeah, it's hard, but you have to really like the shit that you're doing. Like I've wanted to make YouTube videos and be a YouTuber since literally middle school. So like that was the actual dream for my whole life. It was a dream that I never thought I would actually get. I just thought I would be doomed to never get views forever. And so now that I'm here, it is difficult, and there are days where I'm like, why the fuck am I uploading twice a day? This is so unnecessary, and it probably is. But it's also like my hobby. It's like, what else would I do? I would go back and like watch a YouTube video to learn something to make a YouTube video about it anyway. So it's like, whatever, it all helps, which is the best part about YouTube. Once you do have that audience, the extra work you put in finally does actually pay off. And like at no point in my life did it ever pay off before. I'd always be the guy putting in the extra work, but no one ever saw it, and I always got overlooked. And I'm like, this is the first time where I have like my own show, my own brand, my own Discord, my own following. And so I'm like, that's like super motivating for me, and I like can't imagine not putting in that work now because it is about me finally.
Yeah, I can relate to that too, where I've had people say like, okay, well, like when do you not work? And I'm like, well, I mean, I guess I work every day, but it's when you're having fun and doing what you actually love. Like when I say I'm working, I'm making videos and making art. Like that's so fun. I would do that whether, it's work or not work.
Yeah, watching, I'm like, yeah, exactly. It's like, I'm like, technically, I kind of feel like I work, 24/7. I mean, because I'm just but sometimes I'm just sitting in my bed watching, travel videos or something. But it's like, that's also work in my head because I'm learning new angles, tactic, music, I don't, like it just doesn't stop. But yeah, you just love it, so it's not work. So I don't have a work-life balance because I don't feel like I'm working all the time, but I am. So
exactly.
It's hard to explain that to people.
Yeah. And like what you said of everything helps. Like that's what's so cool is I have spent my whole life watching YouTube videos, and now all the YouTube videos I'm watching, they're entertainment and I like watching them. I've been watching them my whole life, but yeah, now they're actually helping all the things that whatever the YouTube video is about, even if it's not about art, just about how to make a good YouTube video, like the way they're structuring it, the way they're talking, like whatever it is, you can always find things that help. So yeah, that's a really cool thing about what we're doing.
Yeah, that's definitely a big thing. And also, once you do see that success a little bit, this isn't gonna make sense for a lot of people, but when you do end up finally getting some heat, or maybe you do start making some dope stuff, and people start to see, you meet some cool cats. You meet some cool cats in the world that you never thought you'd meet. Like I know you've told me some people that you've met that are pretty wild. I've met some people that are in my DMs that I'm just like, the fuck are you doing here? You know, and it's just like, you're watching my videos? Or like, what are you talking about? And that's also super motivating, because like I'm on a platform now where like I remember I made this video, this was a few months ago now, but I remember it like very vividly because it was a really weird feeling for me. I clickbaited with a picture of Jake Paul for a video scam that he did for a NFT project. But I have watched Jake Paul, and I've seen him in videos like forever because of his brother. And I was like, he's some character in a world that doesn't exist in my world. He's some LA character dude who vlogs and gets 20 million views. He's my age, but he's like a multi-billionaire kid I'm just like, that's not a real person in my head almost. It's some character in an entertainment industry. And I like used him as real clickbait in a real YouTube video that was like gonna get views. And I remember being like, that's kind of weird. I'm like in this industry now with him. Like he's like a coworker / like enemy, or not enemy, but like he's like a coworker. He's like in the game. He's like in the same game field as me. It's like when I've talked to my friend Joel, who's a professional soccer player now. And I was like, dude, what was it like? Because you've watched soccer players your whole life. And yesterday you just played against someone who was on the England national team in the last World Cup on the same field, competing in the same game. And it wasn't like some teacher comes in and like teach. It was like a competitive game. What was that like? And he was like, it was fucking weird. And it was that feeling for me, you know, and it'll be like that feeling if I ever do a collab with someone who I used to watch on YouTube. That'll be a crazy moment, but it's motivating.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. All of a sudden, I can't wait to see the podcast with you and Gary Vee. It's going to be that moment. We're like, damn.
Literally.
I have a video recorded on my phone that I'm going to show him when I get on his show. And Tom Bilyeu. I have 2 videos recorded that are like 30 seconds or a minute. And I'm like, I don't even know what I said, but I recorded them like 6 months ago. And I was like, this is the video that I'm going to pull up at the podcast studio one day.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Can we talk about this? I want to share this because I've never met someone who does this like Cade has, where you make videos of yourself, just recording you alone in your room or your car or wherever you are. And the purpose of the video is just for you to watch it back, like whatever time it is. Like you talk about this. I think it's really interesting. And it's something I want to start doing.
Yeah. Well, Gary Vee, I think it's Gary Vee probably who put it in my head, but he has sound clips from like 10 years ago. Video clips where he's like saying something and then he's like, yo, I said this in 2010. See, like, and I remember being like, wow, this motherfucker was very woke to do that. Why would he have done that if he wasn't thinking about bringing that up in 10 years? And now he does all the time. He's like, I'm going to clip this video in 5 years. You're going to know I was right. And I remember thinking that and being like, wow, that's a good idea. And I was like, I should do that, but for like more wholesome stuff instead of just like trying to be right, which like that's he was in the business world, that's why he was doing it. But I was like, I could do this for a lot other things too, and not just business related things. So I made one for like, if I ever have kids, there's a video from that, like I made like over a year ago, maybe 2 years ago now, that's like for my kids at like different ages, and it's fucking weird. I don't even know what I said in it. It's so cringy that I probably won't be able to watch it because I just don't want to watch it. It's kind of like reading back old journal entries. It's just hard to read. And so I have videos like that. I have a video for coming out in 2 years, I think, that's scheduled to go live randomly on like a Tuesday. It's just going to pop up on YouTube. And I have no idea when it's going to come up. It's hidden in the archives somewhere, but it's scheduled to come out. And it's a video called Hi, Me in 3 Years, because I saw Mr. Beast make that video. And that video went viral because he was famous at the point that it came out. And I have a lot of videos like that. I have like 20 videos I think I've recorded to 20 various influencer people who influenced me in my journey and I thought were like super impactful to get to where I was when I had Journey Crypto, who's like one of the biggest influencers in the NFT space, crypto space, follow me. And that's when I was like, oh my God, this is a big moment. This is like, I may actually be onto something here. Let me record these videos now when I'm like euphoric right now and this is wild. This is all starting. And so I did all those things. That way I can look back because I've done it before. It's like Snapchat stories also gave me that idea. Because like you look at Snapchat stories and memories from 2 years ago and you're like, wow, I'm so glad I saved that video. Because it is weird looking back, but I'm so glad I did. And I think all those ideas kind of sparked me to do all that.
I think that's the only reason I have Snapchat now. It's like every once in a while I'll just have like a moment and I'm like, I want this to be one of those, do you remember what you were doing 3 years ago? And I click on it and I'm like, oh, exactly. What was it? That's literally the only reason I have Snapchat now is for the stories. That's funny.
Yeah, I think that's so cool about what we're doing is that we're going to have these videos for the rest of our lives. And like, I remember when we were hanging out watching old vlogs and it's so cool thinking about like, we'll be able to show our kids this, like us in the Dominican Republic, like doing these, just living our life basically and being able to have these like little time capsules that are awesome and like aesthetically pleasing and fun to watch is just so cool. Like what a benefit to doing this job. Like we'll get to have this for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, we never thought about that benefit, I guess. But yeah, that's a huge one. Yeah. Going back and just seeing like dad's wedding was like, whoa, I just did that. It threw me off.
Yeah.
Brings back emotions real quick.
And you can look back and exactly. And you can look back and see where you were at mentally. Because you can remember, like you see a Snapchat memory, you kind of remember what was going on in your head and in your life at that point a little bit. And so when I see that, it like helps me with perspective, kind of like when I fly. I think I've told you this. When I fly, I get this like woke perspective because I look down at the ground. I'm like, whoa, like everyone's doing their own thing, and like it doesn't even matter. Like I don't know, it's just like some weird feeling like when you're like up in the sky looking down. And so I kind of have the same idea when I look at old memories because I'm like, wow, that was such a big deal. And I don't even remember any of the details anymore because it's not a big deal. And then like that's literally everything that's ever happened ever in the history of like I have a story from with Sup Ducks. I was talking to Frankie, who's the founder, and him and I hit it off. It was really fun. And he texted me the next day, and he was like, "Yo, sound clip this clip of me talking about this. I'm gonna text it to Gary Vee, personal text, phone number, and he's gonna see your face on this little thing."
What?
And so I made a tweet, tagged him, and he said, "Okay, I'm gonna send this." And I made a mistake, so I deleted the tweet, re-uploaded it, but he had already sent him that first tweet, and I guess you can't just like double text Gary Vee or something like that. And so I literally just like lost the opportunity, like just right before my eyes. And it doesn't matter because I know I'll meet him at some point.
Oh no!
But that hurt, bro. That was like one of the lowest points. I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like that was the dumbest thing that could have ever happened in the history of any. That was so dumb. And I was just like, are you serious, bro? Like, are you literally serious? And that sucked. But now I look back and I'm like, now it's just like a dumb story. Like it doesn't even matter. It still kind of hurts a little bit, but it's fine. You know, like it's really fine. It doesn't even matter. And at some point when I go on the show, I'll be able to tell him that story, and it's just kind of funny now. But that hurt really bad when it happened. And there's many times in my life where something really hurt in that moment, and I could not tell you any details about it now because it's just a conglomerate. It's just another speed hump in your way of life, and there's so many that they're all just, you know, whatever.
Bad and good. I think there's pros and cons to that. Because when you're in a shitty situation, True. You go, well, I mean, it's not like I'm even going to remember this.
That's true.
Who cares? You know, just push through and, you know, eventually it'll be over.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good and bad, but it's true, dude. Like it's good and bad, but it's literally true.
Yep.
Like you won't remember. It's sad a little bit too, but I mean, there are some memories you remember, like certain core memories for some reason that you never forget that are just there, and you can always like picture it. And it sucks because like sometimes it's like the most painful ones, like some like the girl that got away or something like that. Or it's just like man. But for the most part, you're not gonna remember most things. Yeah.
So tell us about your NFTs. What is the value of them? What are they about?
So I do get people asking me in the Discord what's the reason to buy them, because the floor is pretty expensive on them, and so naturally they want to know what's the point. Especially if it's just an art piece. A lot of people don't want to fork over thousands of dollars if it's just going to be an art piece most of the time. And so the way I explain it is it's basically my access keys. It's like my buying in at ground zero type of investment, and my goal is to make life fun at some point for all my holders. That's why there's only 50. I think I said that at one point there was going to be 100, and there may be at some point if I'm like super wealthy and able to, you know, provide some dope stuff for 100 people. But I think I'd be able to provide cooler stuff if I only had 50 and more and better quality and more expensive things and whatever it ends up being. But I have big plans. I have like Gary Vee level of thinking as far as things like opening like a amusement park, and like doing these crazy things with the brand. And, you know, like money in the media entertainment world is pretty ridiculous. So if I get to that kind of level, then there's almost nothing I can't do. And so to have 50 people who believed in me, who bought my NFTs, who I can flex because I'm like, oh, look what all my holders get to do. It's a flex for me. And then it's also a flex for them because they get to be associated with me, especially as I grow in the space. If I have like 1 million subscribers one day, it's going to be hard to get my attention for any reason. Like any business, I'm for the most part probably not going to see. Any business inquiries I'm not going to see really, you know, unless there's a connection here and there that would get me to be like, okay, I'll listen to this. But I'm kind of thinking way in the future, like when I have 1 million subscribers type of deal is when those things will really kick in. But right now it's just investing in the brand, the Joyous Kingdom brand, and that's the only thing I promise. It's very similar to the Bored Ape Yacht Club. If you believe in the Bored Ape Yacht Club brand, then that's pretty much all you get. If you believe in the CryptoPunk brand and you want to be a punk, that's why you buy a CryptoPunk. And that's kind of the way I explain my NFTs. you're just buying it at ground zero. I'm still super early in the journey. I'm not even at 10,000 subscribers yet. I'm very, very early in terms of YouTube. The views aren't there yet. I'm like, all this is you investing that I'll be bigger in next year and the year after that. So that's what I say for my NFTs currently. It's hard to bring value for NFTs, you know, especially because if you don't make a ton of money off them.
Cade, we're wrapping it up. Thanks for being here, my man.
Hell yeah.
You've been one of the OGs for real. You've been helping us out since the very beginning. Like, huge thanks to you, man. And thanks for taking the time to come hang out with us. And you got way more knowledge on all the NFT stuff than we do. You've been doing it longer. We appreciate you, man.
And I also want to say, I forgot to say this at the beginning, Cade was one of the first people that ever bought my art and bought my NFT. He bought my one-of-one NFT of the girl sitting in spaghetti.
It's right behind. Yeah, there it is.
He's got right behind him. So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you on the pod for that, because you truly were one of the first people that not only just like bought my art, but was so confident in me as a person and as a content creator, like not just an artist. And that meant so much to me at the beginning. And like we were talking about, like just getting that little bit of validation, that little bit of success at the start, like how much that can propel you forward and just instill that motivation and self-confidence in yourself. And you were such a big part of doing that for me. So I just wanted to say thank you. And yeah, I appreciate you coming on the pod.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah. I saw it early and I was like, I want that shit. You're dope. You're going to be here. This will be fun. This is a good idea. And yeah, you fucking killed it. You guys both are destroying it in the NFT space, and we'll be here. We'll probably do more podcasts in the future. We're going to NFT NYC, by the way. I hope you guys are going at least, but I'm definitely going to be there. It's going to be super fun.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right. That's a wrap. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.
Bye.